everybody, good morning. Welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Anne, and disembodied brain Justin. I'm just gonna put him as a brain in a jar again. I think he's comfortable there, so we're just gonna put him there. I think I can imagine him with his little pokey utila hands, doing various things in the studio. You know, scooting over on his little like alternative wheels. Maybe we're going a little far with this analogy, but anyway, Justin is here. He's just not really physically here. Good morning, everybody. Morning. I actually woke up before my alarm clock today. That's always like, you're never sure whether that's good or bad. On the other hand, you know, on the one hand, I could have gotten a couple more minutes of sleep. And on the other hand, I was like alert enough to wake up, you know, before my alarm. So it's like, yeah. Warm and cozy in the jar. Yes, exactly. It keeps him at a very temperate 72 degrees, I'm sure. Okay, boom. Let's just go straight to it. We have a genie. She does not have light blonde hair. She's gonna have white. If I wanted contrast, I could go with black. I mean, I could maybe go with light brown, but it just seems weird when she's so ethereal, obviously so ethereal, to go with a natural color. So I think I want to go white because she's going to be pretty opalescent. I mean, she started out pretty opalescent and she's just going to get further from there. So yeah, we're going to work on some pink today. Pink. So we want something that's kind of like a magenta. But I think actually, given that I've gone up with kind of a magenta-y pink on her skin, that I'm more thinking I'll go up with a pink that's kind of like the color I mixed for my halfling, which is more of a raspberry color. I'm thinking I'm going to maybe use violet red and then add a bit of magenta to it. So I may mix, since Runic Glow has a lot of magenta in it, I may mix these two colors to get a good starting tone for these scarves and bangles and flower petals and beads. I'm going to repeat the color. Remember, accent colors always repeat over the surface of the figure. Her lips are already a dark magenta anyway, so, you know, you got it. Hey, Pendrick, are you alive? I missed you yesterday. I was afraid your back had, destroyed you. Like, are you okay? I missed you on my afternoon stream. And I think the morning. I don't remember if you were in there, but... But yes, when a pendrake disappears after complaining about acute back pain, I get concerned. Pink, it'd be overwhelming then, I think, because the problem with putting a lot of pink in is she's already got pink in her skin tones, pendrake. So, essentially, if I put pink hair next to those pink skin tones, the pink skin tones would instantly wash out, and I would lose that beautiful subtlety to her skin tone. Because remember, when you put a heavy load of a color next to a really kind of a subtle tone of that color, the subtle tone will completely wash out. You won't see it because all you're going to see is the pink of the hair. So I can get away with it on the lips because the lips are pretty dark and also very small. But the minute, I mean, that would be a lot of pink, a ton of pink if you think about it. You are back, you are alive, but far from okay. All right. Did you go to the doctor and get some muscle relaxers or something? Because seriously, take care of yourself, man. My back got bad enough that I actually had just an ongoing prescription for muscle relaxers. You know then that you're kind of messed up. But that's all right. I'm getting better. But I'm glad you're alive. All right, so I'm going to do 2 drops of violet red and 2 drops of the Runic Glow, which it's a mix I've never done before, so let's see if it gives us something pretty. Because really, that's just something pretty. But I had, as you can see, I had started on white hair anyway, and I really did have my heart kind of set on white hair. Not platinum blonde Creos. I want white. I want white like clouds. Remember, this is a dawn genie, and all of her colors are based on dawn sky. So the deepest part, the darkest part of the dawn sky where the light hasn't gotten to yet, and then the dawn colors of clouds, and then the white of the clouds too. So I'm going for white hair here. No blonde, no yellow, because I've already got so much yellow on here with the gold. And I don't want to take it that direction. I could go blonde, but I don't want to go that way. I mean, just having this amount of gold, yes, blonde would be a repeating the colors, but it's like I said, I want her to be cloudy. I want her to be misty and cloudy and dawn colored and all that. So all of my color choices are based off of a theme. And if you have problems choosing colors for a model, you should do that. You should think about the theme of your model and the personality of your model and start with a clear concept so that you can make choices that make sense. if you get a lot of decision paralysis on colors, because that can then be a guide for you. And sure, maybe you're hesitating between blonde and white here for the hair, but you can always try the blonde hair on a different model and do the white. I mean, it's like, just go with whatever fits your concept for the piece. And I mean, start with a concept. Just because you're a new painter doesn't mean you can't have a kind of a character that you're trying to convey behind the miniature that you're painting. In fact, doing that from the beginning and not believing that it's, you know, beyond you is a good, just generally a good decision to make. Probably the miniatures that I've seen like beginning painters be most happy with are ones where they have a clear concept of a character that they're trying to convey when they're painting. Like everything from, this is a rogue who likes orange kitties, and so he likes to like wear cat spots and stripes, to, you know, like it's, you could do like anything, as silly as you want or as unsilly as you want. I mean, that's why I went green with Grumpy Cat's armor, is because I was kind of thinking about, like, just like, I was kind of remembering a book, the long time ago book, fantasy book that I liked with sentient, you know, it was kind of like Watership Down for cats, but there was a cat in there named Leaf Shadow. And I was like, oh, and then there was Shadow Eyes. And I'm like, well, Leaf Shadow and Shadow Eyes, let's make her dark green, because then she can go out in the wilds and hide in the forest just as well as she can hide in the city, right? So that was kind of like, I had a character in mind, so I painted it accordingly. And I think that the most successful characters and paint jobs have that backing. I mean, yeah, you can also just do cool color exercises. Yeah, it was black. And like I said, you could go with black. It would be high contrast. But because she's so ethereal and because her hair is plainly cloudy and not... I mean, it's got swirls and stuff in it. It's plainly cloudy and misty, right? So I don't want to go black because it doesn't seem realistic hair to me. It seems more like mist. So again, the white. No, that wasn't it. And it had nothing to do, like, honestly, it had nothing to do with the actual character of the cat in that story. It just had, like, kind of an associative thing, but then I had more of a feel for Grumpy Cat, that she was the kind of rogue that wanted to be good in nature and in the city. And so then I was like, oh, all right. Because shadows don't have to be city shadows. They could be forest shadows. Shadow Eyes being her name. No. You guys are just asking, and I have, like, no idea, so, you know. I won't be able to answer you because it's been so long ago, I don't remember. So we got a kind of an interesting pink off of here. I don't know if it'll work. We're going to see. It did go more magenta. It's going to be pretty bright out of the gate, but that's okay because once we add highlights, it won't be. Highlights and shadows will take this pink down a bit because we'll use purple for the shadows. And we'll bring it up to white for the highlights, which will make it, every time you add white, you wash out the color a bit. You can still create a very vibrant color by adding like white to clear brights, but there is a point of diminishing returns where you wash out the color so much that it then ceases to be really vibrant. But this is a pretty good pink, actually. When I look at it around all of this, I think this is going to be a pretty good pink. Alrighty. So just block it in, and I'm gonna go with the down low, and then I'm gonna spread out this color over. I've got to remember this little flower back here as well. I'm gonna get in focus. Focus and focus. There. And I've got to get the little top of the tassel here. It's got a cap on it and then a band to bind it together, but this part is is still threads, fibers. It's a tassel. She's wearing a tassel. I approve of this. Yep. Yeah, we're repeating colors around the model. Repeat colors. Always repeat colors around the model. If there is no reason, absolutely no good reason, to go to a different color for this scarf, unless you like are doing two things. Like if you're like, I want two accent colors and they're going to be purple and pink. In that case, then you have to pretty much go purple, purple, pink, pink. You could do that. But I don't see why I would, because every, like, a strong model color scheme at most has 3 strong colors on it. You can throw a 4th in there as an accent if you make it small. Some models will work just fine that way. But you are diluting your color scheme. Like, you're essentially you're in danger of becoming the Rainbow Genie of Doom. And I'm already planning to put some opalescent, like shades on here very subtly. So I don't want to go too rainbow out the gate on the rest of her. This is a red, yellow, blue color scheme. This is a modified red, yellow, blue, because this pink counts as red. Remember to think of colors in, like, general terms, like classing them if you're using your color wheel, right? A pink is a red because it's just a diluted red. A dark magenta is also a red. It's just a cool red with black in it. So when you're trying to figure out what your color scheme is and you're starting with one color that you like, and that one color doesn't seem to be, it isn't a standard color wheel color, chances are it's a version of a color wheel color. And then you kind of apply filters to it because you're like, okay, Highland Moss, this is a green. Okay, what kind of green is it? Well, it's kind of medium, but it's definitely grayed out. So it has gray in it. Okay, so it's a gray green. Then we can work from that. But this color is classed as a red, even though it's a pink. Just like this light yellow and this complex gold are classed as yellow because that's their general gist. And then you've got blue. So even though I'm working with cooler reds, it still counts as red, yellow, blue color scheme. And when you've got a triadic color scheme like this going, don't violate it without good reason. Like, if you can repeat a blue, yellow, or red somewhere, there's no reason to put a green on there, right? It's just not going to really work very well. So think about the fact that you don't have to have all the colors. I mean, if you want all the colors, just paint a lot of minis and make all your minis different. If you look at it, this actually was brought up the other day when I think Luca came in on the stream, where I showed him the last 3 projects I'd done, and he said, oh yeah, each one of those has a really good color identity. Well, yeah, that means they're not using all the colors. They're all very different color schemes, and they're all very individual, and each one owned its color scheme. So I'm not seeking to put all the colors on one figure. You should start with if you really don't know how to choose colors, you should start with just one strong color that you feel very strongly about, that you want on the figure. And if you don't have it, your job is to sit there until you do. You can't get around that. You have to choose. If you have more than one concept, decide which one you're going to execute here. And if you have to buy another one of that figure to get yourself to start so that you have a backup in case you want to switch to the other color scheme, do it. Unless, of course, it's like a $100 figure, then don't do it. Just paint over it. But you got to make a decision. You got to commit. I mean, I run into this too. The fact that I don't want to commit, especially if it's a limited piece and it's expensive. Like right now I've got an Ignis Art Fairy that I want to start, and I know what colors I want to start her in, but she's like been pushed off because I know I'm not going to get another one because it's a limited edition piece. It's like a very expensive piece, and it's probably going to sell out. So I have to be sure of my colors and the way I want to go with it before I start it, because I really don't want to paint it over. I mean, I can, but it does kill a little bit of the enthusiasm. So here I've got to be very careful. So I'm trying to get up inside of here without hitting the leg, the blending on the leg. So, that here, when I did this blending on the leg, I probably should have put a dark shadow in there beforehand, because just putting like a line of walnut back here would have been good enough because it's recessed. And then I could have painted the leg and not had to worry about messing it up later. But I think I got it, so we'll do a little bit more. Hello, VCR. Yeah, life is hectic. Right, Cookie. I mean, and just the rainbow thing can be very garish, which is why when I'm going to throw a few extra color accents into this genie, into the mist, I'm going to go very careful about it. I'm going to go pretty subtle so I don't get garish. But also because I want this genie to have a very clear color identity. So that violet works really well. So that is, again, it's violet red plus runic glow. And it's about a 50-50. Maybe a little extra runic glow in there just to bring it up a little pinker. I think I did a couple of smudgies in here that I need to scrub out. There. Good enough. Yeah, this genie's color identity is Dawn colors, and it's red, yellow, blue. And so I won't reach for a green or an orange for any strong aspect of this figure. If I decide to do kind of an opalescent mist, then I'm going to use only very small portions of those colors, and I'm probably going to do them by mixing my previous colors. So when it comes down to making a purple, I'm going to use runic glow and ultramarine and maybe a touch of violet red to see what kind of purple I can get. I'm going to try to do it that way. I'm going to essentially use my colors that I'm already using to create a new hue and see if I can make it work. And if I can't, I'll just drop that color. Sometimes you can also suggest a color just by layering two very different colors on top of one another. Like if I took a thinned down version of this pink and I layered some yellow right next to her on top of it, it would probably read as orange, even without mixing it. Because the eye would just kind of look at both colors and mix them together. I forget what that's called. There is a technical term for it, but our eye will do that. Like David currently has on his big Pterodon dragon piece, he has a green, I think it's a green underlayer layered over, or a blue underlayer layered over with orange, and it looks green because the orange has a lot of yellow in it. He hasn't actually mixed those colors at all, but it still looks green because the eye is doing the mixing component. There. Runic glow is the natural solution to highlighting purples because it's magenta and white, and clear magenta and white are the key components of highlighting any purple. Fubeca, I still would I would stick to like mostly neutrals on that and choose some clear color, like an obvious dual color scheme. You could add pops of little things, sure. But I wouldn't go for that as an excuse to just paint all the colors of the rainbow. I would just vary up a lot of browns, blacks, grays, and then put some punchy colors in on the items where it makes sense. But I would probably keep those punchy colors to like only a couple of different colors, maybe 3. And you'll still then have plenty of variety on your henchmen of many things. But let's face it, most of the packs holding those things are going to be brown or black, leather, right? They're going to be natural colors. Or wood. So, I mean, it really depends, but like, you know, like he'll look like he's working for the fashion industry instead of a party of adventurers if you just make it all the colors of the world. And that's up to you. It's just, this is all about, like, you know, what kind of model are you painting? If you just want him to be comedy, like you want a really comedic, like, henchman, then yeah, paint him all the rainbow colors. Nobody will care. But if you're trying to work with a concept and you're trying to make a model look good and integrated and have the color scheme be very pleasing and not distracting, then you got to minimize your colors. I mean, Ben Comets did a bust for the last Crystal Brush competition where he did use all the colors of the rainbow on the bust, but he did it very cleverly, and it was very subtle. It wasn't like he was painting a different area of the bust, red, yellow, green, blue, and purple. He was using purples to shade his oranges, and he was using, you know, greens to shade his reds, and, you know, and purples to shade his yellows, and you know, he was doing all that. So his bust ended up looking fantastic. You could definitely see that it was painted with a lot of saturated colors when you got close to it, but it still looked great because he was using them more like a canvas painter would use them. Yeah, you can find palettes everywhere. The difficulty is just finding an MSP paint or other paint line, if you're using other paint lines, that goes with that color. But it's not that hard. If you have your colors, your paint colors organized by hue, like greens all together, blues all together, that makes it easier to kind of like eyeball and see, oh, I found this blue for this palette I want to try out on a miniature. Which one is closest? You just kind of look at your bottles and go, this one looks closest. We'll start here. You really just need close, usually. But I mean, all the colors that you could imagine are, you know, all the color combos you can imagine, you can come to via the color wheel also. And do be aware when you see those palettes online, they tend to have an equal size swatch of every color. But some of those colors should be just accent colors. Not all of them are going to be main colors. So remember that when you're utilizing a palette that you find online on some fashion site or some, you know, color site. Is that a lot of the times, some of those palettes will even get you in trouble. Like if it's something like olive green, pale blue, and bright orange, which totally can work, but you have to have the orange be an accent, small. You can't do it the other way around or it's going to look terrible, even though it looked good, you know, and cream usually is thrown into that too. So cream color or a brown, olive green, light blue, and bright orange. You can make that work, absolutely. But you've got to be conscious of which piece you want to be smaller on the model. Right, brown and gray. But then you got to break, one helpful tip for that in Aura is that you got to look at the brown and say, okay, is this an orange brown? Is it a yellow brown? Is it a red brown? Or is it a neutral? And that way you can class your browns, because most will be oranges. But some browns are reddish and some browns are very yellow. And so you class those according to the color they slide towards. And if it's a very dark brown, like blackened brown, and you just can't tell, it just tends to be a neutral. But gray also, yes, has a very wide spectrum. And warm colors and, you know, blue grays and green grays and even purple grays like dark elf skin. But even so, I always class those as the color they most resemble, the hue they most resemble, unless they are a real neutral. Like if I look at the gray and I can't discern a slide toward a particular color, I will just class it as a neutral. But if I look at a gray and I'm like, that's kind of greenish, I'll tend to classify it toward the green side. And I might use that sort of greenish gray in stonework on a model which has one of its main colors as red, for example. Yeah, orange and pink especially are big fighters. They'll fight with each other. So keep them separated by neutrals is my advice to you. And choose one to be a smaller accent. So either go orange-purple or go pink-purple and keep your orange small. Orange and purple is, of course, a good secondary triad combo. Pink and purple are actually closer together. They can be a little harder. The other thing you could do is wash out and gray out your pink and purple and even highlight your purple with orange, which will make it look more gray or brown. So it depends. Like you could do a lot of very interesting things with that and make it look really... Now I'm tempted. So, okay, Reaper challenge for April. Is it a specific model or just those just colors? Guys, because I might even do this one. We'll see. But I have some ideas on how to make it look, just to do it as just a kind of a study for you guys, to show you like what you can do. 3 colors plus black and white, and any miniature in Aura? Any model. All right. Well then. And it has to be done sometime during April? Maybe we'll do that on my, maybe we'll do it on my personal stream. How about that? Like my my Tuesday, Thursday stream on my own channel. We could do the challenge league, and I could show you guys kind of what I'm talking about with. Sorry, I just noticed I missed a little bit of a thing. Gonna have to paint over it. Yep, that's totally a viable way to do it, Inara. Absolutely. That's one way to look at it. I would be tempted to choose which orange and which pink I use very carefully, and which purple, with an eye toward what I could create from each. Because you know you've got black, so you want to choose a purple that doesn't have a lot of black in it, because you can always add that. All right. So yeah, the strategy of the current Reaper. Maybe we'll make it a little exercise on the Patreon, and I might even do a $5 PDF on it for next month. That would be kind of fun. What do you guys think of that idea? Because usually I do a color workshop, and you choose making those colors work together with black and white is not impossible. But I think you must choose carefully. Morning, love and music. How's it going? We were just talking about the Reaper Challenge League. I don't know if you've heard about it, but Reaper essentially puts up does a challenge every month. I think is it on the Discord, guys? Anybody can join our Discord. But so in April, the challenge is you have 3 colors. Essentially, you can paint any model with them. And it's pink, orange, and purple, which is just a devastatingly bad combo if you don't know what you're doing. And then you have black and white. So you've got 5 colors total, of which 2 are black and white. And then you can use these to paint any miniature. Oh, good. So yeah, it's I think that the way to make it work. Yeah, I have some ideas on how to make it work, and to give you want to choose a pink, an orange, and a purple that give you the most breadth of color, the most options. So don't choose a purple with black in it. That's my first tip to you guys. Yeah, any Reaper figure, yes. You haven't gotten yours yet, yeah. But yeah, it says April. So since it's such a hard, because pink and orange are colors that war with each other, like more than any other color combo, they are some of the hardest colors to make work with each other. So it's like important, which ones you use and how you choose them and how you're like doing all this stuff. So yeah, I think I was just saying I would do a little thing on my own channel, my own Twitch channel about the Reaper Color Challenge. Maybe I'll pick a model and out of my Reaper models, I've got a couple that I've been looking at. Maybe even choose something weird like a fire giant. Like that you'd never choose to do those colors on, right? But you could make it work. So does Reaper have a list? I think John puts up like a list of pinks and stuff, right? Am I right about that? Like a list of things that are considered pink? I think I gave him some options. Oh, yeah. Freehand, when it scrunches up and you've got a lot of stuff, it can be hard, Valandar. Because nobody knew what magenta was, whether it's a red, technically. Clear magenta is a red. So I don't know if John put it in. Oh, you're going to get yourself so in trouble, Shadow Raven, with that. Remember, Drown Opal Pink has black in it. Darkest was violet red for the pinks. Oh, that gives you so many tools. Oh, John, you made it too easy. Well, if you learn from it, nothing's wrong with getting into trouble. But if you're left with a model that doesn't look great and you still wonder why, well, that's what I'll tackle, I think. But yeah, violet red is fast becoming a mainstay of my color palette now, so expect me to use a lot of violet red. Because really, I've always loved the color. I just didn't utilize it. I was always reaching for other things. But lately, I'm just like, you know what? This is a really versatile red. So remember those little straps up there. I'm kind of thinking I should have put a pink strap right here, but I'm going to do the flowers first and see. I want to spread out this pink. Only get in trouble if you get caught. Yeah! Yeah, Valendar, choosing the right freehand pattern for an area can be very challenging. Like, I'm struggling right now with my Templar, what I want to do on her sleeves. Because she's got this big sleeve, the big sleeves and the big cloak, and I want to do a brocade of some sort, but I need to like really work out what I'm going to do. And it's hard because there's a lot of folds, right? So here, let me grab her. So a lot of folds down here. This is going to be red. And then the cape is all laid on top of itself, right? So that's also going to be difficult. So yeah, you kind of have to look at it and judge your pattern by the number of folds and how deep they are. Like big broad folds you can easily paint. Render mapping it to a rectangular and then deforming it. Wow. Yeah, but you can save yourself a lot. Like if a cape scrunches up a lot toward the top, either you focus your freehand toward the bottom in a band, which is always good, or a pattern, but you just don't go near the top, or you do a border, or you can do a small repeated pattern, because a small repeated pattern will work on that, but don't do a big pattern on that one if you've got a lot of like cut folds, because then it can be hard, even rendering like that, it can be hard to convey the pattern. So hopefully it worked out for you. Yeah, the problem with Drow Nipple Pink is that it's a really muted Twisted Oma, and yet Lava Orange is super bright. So to get them to work together, you're going to have to either brighten the Drow Nipple Pink or more easily, probably the easier thing is to mute the Lava Orange. But Lava Orange with black, could create a decent leather color. Like if you mix a little black into it, you'll get a muted brown, and you can highlight that with more Lava Orange and white. And that would be, a good way. Oh, look, I am going to have to put green on the model, but just little touches of it because we have leaves in here. Bobby, why'd you put leaves up here? What, come on. I wish Bobby Jackson would get on my stream sometimes so I could yell at him. Not really. I love Bobby's work, so I really can't yell at him too much, but we are going to have to do something about that leaf. And what I probably will do is use only a very tiny touch of green, and I will mix my blue and my yellow to get the green, and then I'll bring the leaves up yellow toward the edges a lot. So my green will be at just a tiny touch, and it won't interfere with the rest of my color scheme. No, I don't think I want to do that, because then you're getting into the orange, pink, yellow, and boy, that, like I said, pink and orange, hardest thing to make work together. Trust me. I used to use that as the example. If you want to see two colors that are more at war with each other than any other colors in the Master Series range, grab 9111 Burnt Orange and put it next to something like Runic Glow or Pale Violet Red. And you will see like the two colors that absolutely hate each other more than any other colors I've yet found in Master Series. Like, oh boy, do they hate each other. Oh boy. Like, just look at those and let that align your gut with, oh, this is how it feels when two colors look absolutely terrible together. All right, we get our flower petals in here. Now, I will use some purple to shade the pink, as I mentioned. So when I choose my purple, I'll choose something darker. I may just try to mix a little bit of my violet red into my ultramarine and get a color. Like I said, if I can mix the color that I use, then it's not going to jar as much. It's not going to show up as a really vitally different color if I can mix it with the colors I'm already using. So with red, yellow, blue, you actually have a lot of freedom there, right? Because you can mix pretty much everything. Especially when you're using a colder, more magenta-y pink like this, red. You can, and you've got ultramarine, which is a core purpley blue. So that can make a very good purple. It won't make as good of a green. It'll essentially make a more muted green, but I can still make a decent green with it. And leaves aren't always bright anyway, so. Yeah, I don't, but if you paint them purple, it's hard to keep their leaf identity. Because they have to read as leaves, they're leaves. Otherwise, if you make them purple, they tend to read as more flower petals. And I know there are purple leaves, but I feel without, we don't have a plant here to really, to draw from. We just have flowers. So I think I will mix a green. And the green will be complementary to this cool red pink. So that's not bad. It'll make these flowers look a little more, pop a little more up here. But I'll just be careful. And since that green is just a color of necessity, i.e. I have leaves, I am going to paint them green, rather than an accent color, which would be, I like this color and want to use it all over the figure, I will only keep the green up here and I will play it down. I will make sure that it's a more muted green and I'm only using a tiny touch of it. Because I don't want it to be a component of my main color scheme. It will be the very most minor of accents. All right, so let's see. Let's back out. See, I'm going to do something like, I'm not going to do a monster. Monsters are easy, you're right. So a shot of the genie. All right, so looking at her from a ways away, I'm seeing a pretty good balance of colors here. I think that I could go pink with this little band across her boobs. Oh, actually, there's a band right below that. That's right. I was going to go pink with that. I keep just reading it as open skin, but it's not. But I left this panel open on purpose to bring some pink toward the middle. And once again, you're moving the model so that you can easily reach everything. You're not trying to distort your brush position. All right. And then I've got a little flower on her butt, which is fine because actually we get 1, 2, 3, and then we'll have 4 little touches of pink. And then if I want, I still have her sword here. So probably going pink with the handle, pink next to that, and then I'll probably use a blue color for some of the blade, because that'll be easiest to do NMM sort of on. So we'll do it's got a gold, it's got a lot of different areas on it. I could even do pink, a little bit of pink up here, but that'll be gold. So yeah, we'll see. It's a cloud sword, but I think I'm going to make the hilt pink because that makes sense. And then I can have pink traveling around the model. So remember, an accent color should be repeated all around the model if you can. Do your best. But yeah, probably for weird colors like that, going with monsters is definitely the easier thing. It'd be harder to make work on a humanoid, but I think you could make it work on a humanoid pretty easily with a lot of mixing. Actually, you know what? The thing is, with the right purple and the right pink, you could actually mix straw nipple pink. You wouldn't have to use it as one of your colors. You could actually just mix it. Because really, it's a grayed out purple pink. And you've got white and black, and you've got purple and pink. So then you wouldn't have to take up one of your color slots with draw nipple. You can just make it. There we go. Side, and then this side also has pink. So you kind of look at it. Pink, 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 and it'll have pink everywhere pretty much. So actually, I am just gonna paint let's start the sword. Why not? Since I've got this lovely pink mixed up, I will utilize it. But I do think this is the right pink for the model. Volcanic orange, Styx purple, and brains pink. Interesting. Remember that Styx does have black in it. Out of those colors, the orange is the most saturated, because brains is a bit of a muted pink. The more muted colors you start with as your choices, the more muted your color scheme will be in the end as you try to mix and highlight with them and shade. But volcanic orange plus white should give you a pretty vibrant orange too. Yeah, where is it? Dogfather wants to know where it is. Hey, Dogfather, I got back to you on some of your stuff on my Discord, by the way. I had a little time last night. I think I asked you a question too. Because really, it depends on your level of, like, how exactly you want to tarnish the weaponry. Like, that's not clear to me. Because rusting is one thing. Dirt is another. You know, natural darkening from, you know, like just soot and wear and oils is another. So they're all different things. Check the PDF under rules and info. Thank you, VCR. Morning, Scrying Eye. How's it going? We're going pink today. We're pinking out. Let me see. What? Now I have to ask myself what purple I want. That's right. I was going to mix it. So let us mix. I need my ultramarine blue to mix. I think I was actually using ultramarine shadow, wasn't I? No, not that color. There it is. Yeah, I was using ultramarine shadow. Which is a lovely color that actually has no black in it, even though it's very dark. So we're just going to use a tiny bit of this blue, because blue can overwhelm very easily. And red is fairly weak. So I'm using a tiny drop, maybe even a half a drop, of this ultramarine shadow, and then I'm going to mix it with a bit of violet red and maybe just a tiny touch of runic glow. We'll see what kind of purple I get doing this. I'm going to do 2 full drops of that next to that kind of half to a 2/3 drop of ultramarine shadow. Ultramarine shadow is a beautiful blue. It is what her bodysuit is painted in. Let's see here. So that shifted me toward purple. It's a very dark raspberry. It's actually beautiful. Let me get closer. Boop. See that color? It's nice, but I could use a little more blue. So I probably should have used a whole drop. So I'm just going to do another tiny touch because, again, this is a very overwhelming color. And if I hit the red too hard, it will disappear entirely. All right, that shifts it much more toward purple. Neither of these colors have black in them, so they're going to make a pretty vibrant color. They might mute out a little bit depending on the reds used in the violet red. That's pretty good for shading. Let's try that, and if it's not dark enough, we'll see. So rules and info on the Reaper Discord. All right, let's do some shading. Shading and or lining. If I want to line, I might just go for straight ultramarine because it's very dark. But I'll try to kind of do some shading / lining with our friend here first. And I think I actually want to switch to a bigger brush. Part of me says I should switch to a smaller brush, but I'm going to go big. Go big or go home. Sunrise orange, prom night pink. Be aware that prom night pink is a metallic, Coroniko. Yeah. Yeah, it will probably look like a unicorn puke, you're right. But prom night pink is a metallic, so if you want something like that, you want to probably go punk rock pink instead. Yeah, prom night pink is a metallic. It's a pink metallic. Now you all need to run out and buy a bottle. And Reaper John will be pleased because he actually named that one. So let's see here. So you want a little bit of shading near the top here where it crimps in under this metallic thingy. A lot of this is going to be in shadow, so I'm just going to shade it. You can always come back with a little bit of highlight. And then I want a little bit of shadow in the middle, where I've got kind of a wave in it. Brain's pink is pretty light, actually, not bright. I mean, relatively speaking. I think I usually use bright to mean like saturated, bright color, like bright red. So I would say that Brain's pink is light. I mean, Volcanic is a little muted, but so is Brain's. So, try it and see. The question is how you will be able to combine those. Now, one advantage of Volcanic Orange is that you should be able to mix a good brown with it, with black. Because it has some oxides in it. So it should be able to give you a neutral to help with everything. You want some neutrals in there. If your colors start to fight, you want to separate them by putting neutrals. But so you don't put them right up against each other. And then we're going to shade down here. So again, kind of using this little tassel as kind of a test. Yeah, it is stretching time. Thank you, Kerniko. Well, with Sadie in charge of the paint department, I'm sure you'll get more pearly metallics, Comrade Corey. Because she loves the shinies. She loves the shinies more than I did. Alrighty, that actually looks that's looking pretty good. That lets me bring out the details. Then when I go to highlight it, it should still be good. Yeah, I'm liking that. So yeah, so mixing the ultramarine shadow with the violet red, about 2 to 1. 2 violet red to 1 ultramarine. Makes a very pretty purple. Yeah, Sadie loves sparkles. Hallowed orange, clear magenta. Okay, so clear magenta is a pink and clear purple. That's going to give you a lot of options. You'll have to do a lot of mixing, VCR. But it's the only one I think that you might end up having a problem with there is just that hallowed orange isn't super bright. And everything else you've got there is very saturated. Alrighty. Carnosaur figure. That's funny. Yeah, that would make sense that dinosaurs are rusty red. Like that's a common color on like both lizards and birds. So I could see that. But I wish we'd have some evidence for purple dinosaurs. There needs to be evidence for purple dinosaurs. Or their bright colors. Stretch, everybody! Get up, stretch! There we go. Whew. More mixing practice, yep. Oh, yeah. I would just like to see like blue dinosaurs and purple. I was excited when they said that dinosaurs had feathers, because then maybe you could get some bright colored dinosaurs. Yeah, that's too bad, Twisted Oma. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's good. I was never into the metallics very much, so it's good that she's branching out. And plus, that's an easy answer for her to branch out, because it can be hard to create colors when you already have 500. Well, they're different lines, Krios. So the black caps are usually Special Edition or Bones or Pathfinder. And the white caps are Core. Core was the first line we did, and so it's in triads, and it has things like primers and sealers and the clear brights and liners, specialty paints. when we went and did the Bones paints and the HD paints, which are now canceled, those had black caps because we were going for a higher coverage line in general, and with no special paints, no primers, no sealers, no liners, none of that. So it was more just colors. And so that's the difference between the two lines. Bones was meant as an expansion to HD, but HD got canceled, so then the popular HD colors got rolled into the back end of Bones, so they truly became one line in the end. Oh, is it? Yeah, random mix. Yeah, Ed was saying he was going to do that. I'm not a fan. I like the black better, but... Alright, gonna do some cat-cows, and then we'll get back to... Remember to get up and stretch, everybody. Get up and stretch your spine. I was able to play WoW last night for like an hour and a half, and I couldn't have done that before I started doing all these exercises. My back would have killed me. All right. Boop. Yeah, it looks like there's not a difference then. Ed was talking about doing that, but I wasn't sure if they were implementing it at Krios. But the original story was to make them a little bit different. But I think we had problems with one of the caps. Like there was holes, consistently micro holes in the black caps or something. I don't remember. It's a shame because I think the black, I like how the black look. Yes. Hey, it's a miniatures den raid. Look at that. Luca raid. Thank you. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody. I am Anne from Reaper Miniatures. I do the morning show here on Reaper. We do it every day. And we work on a different model. We've got kind of a 6 model rotation going on. And I was just applying our accent color, which is our pink, or in this case, our red stand-in, because we have a red, yellow, blue color scheme. To just see how our pink was going to work, I created a pink. But yes, hello everybody. So this is the Genie from Reaper. She's really cool. She actually has a little lamp down here. I haven't gotten to that yet. That is her name, Ashana, and that is her number, and she is sculpted by the amazing Bobby Jackson. Llamas. I think it's alpacas, actually. Yes. Better name of the are they dromedaries? They're not though, are they? Because they don't carry water in their humps, or they don't really have humps. They're like, I don't know, what are they? What are alpacas? Like what species? Like I guess they would be types of llamas. Are llamas related to camels? Like these are biology questions I've never answered. Even though I think they're pretty cool. All right, so a little bit of shading. No? They're like llamas, but better. Okay. Are they cuter? You guys are like the choir. Preach to us about alpacas here. Flixer. Hello. Camelids. So it is a camelid. Okay. Neat. We're the only domesticated ungulates. Neat. Neat. Yeah, llamas and camels are related. They're just not, yeah. Gotcha. These are very important things to answer, in my opinion. I like to be knowledgeable about animals. Okay. There are 2 Genii. Thank you, everybody. I thought they must be related. They had very similar conformation, structure, features, things like that. Gonna do a little bit of a shadow here with our lovely purple, which we mixed from the blue and the red. Gonna have to touch up some of this stuff. Going pretty bright with this genie, as you can tell. Theme I wanted to do is kind of dawn colors, so they're feisty. Alpacas are cuter. Yeah, I think they're cute. Have fun, Chris. Have a tasty dinner. I wish thee a tasty dinner. Alrighty. So mostly doing some shading on this stuff. And also using this purple kind of as a liner here and there. If I think I need one. Alrighty. You're cooking. I love to cook. Lately I've been cooking a lot of Indian food. A lot of curry. Different curries. Haven't decided if I'm making a lamb curry tonight or chicken adobo. I have lamb and chicken to use up, so I have to make a choice. Let's see. Oh, interesting. So they're like donkeys that way, because donkeys also I've heard are used for guard animals, like flock guardian. Like they'll defend their flock, and donkeys can be ornery. Ornery and independent. All right, I'm going to stay in this angle. Always move the model around. Don't make your brush hand do all sorts of weird angles. Always try to stay at a comfortable angle for your brush hand. We're all prone to carpal tunnel anyway. Don't make it worse. And just doing a bit of a wet blend here, because I can, to bring this shadow up. And blend it into the pink a bit. Just a quick blend to get that shadow established. Oh no, hailstones! Yeah, Carnico. Well, Texas is the same. It's like Scotland and Texas sound very similar, actually. We also got, since I'm no longer in Texas, since I exported myself, we used to get really big hail in the spring. Sunny day in Germany. Lovely. I want to get over to Germany sometime in the next couple of years. If things calm down, David and I want to get over to Europe. Since I don't have a dog right now since Kiri passed. But that means traveling is easier because you don't need to find somebody to care for the dog, so we'll take advantage of this brief dogless period to hopefully get some traveling in the next couple of years. Then I'm getting a dog again. Hail Monday night in Austin? Yeah. It's the season. So I'm going to use this purple to do shading on the beads up here. Going to shade the ones on the bottom of the arm a little bit stronger. Wouldn't be getting as much light. Then ones as they get up here, we're just going to go stronger there. Yes, Texas gets a summer. That's true. A very pronounced, very hot summer. But our springtimes sound like they have things in common. I will mix. It actually gets moderately warm here. Like it got to in the 90s last year after I moved up to the Bay Area, which was a pleasant surprise because I actually like heat. Although a lot of people here don't have AC, so I'm sure they did not like it as much as I do. But we have AC in the apartment, so we're civilized. It means I can go outside and absorb the heat and then escape from it, which is, the Texas tradition. All you get is spring and summer in Florida. Summer after the Texas apocalypse. Oh, yeah. Yes, like, since you all froze, you're all ready for summer now, D. Clearman? Yeah, Houston summer is supposed to be nasty because of all the humidity, right, Pan? Although it is getting pretty humid up in the DFW area before I left. Like, when I first moved there, it didn't seem nearly as humid. And the summers were hot, but, like, really, I thought pretty decent. But it seems like it got more humid in the last few years in North Texas. Just blocking in some little shadows to get these guys separate from each other. And I do need to line a bit to get these bracers a little bit separate from the rest of the genie. Things that seem more solid can get a bit of lining. And things that don't look as solid, I'm going to, like the hair and everything, I don't think I'm going to really give a hard line to. I'll give it a little bit of a deeper shadow back here behind the arm. But I want to be careful, if she's an ethereal creature, to keep that light feeling. So I want to, if I'm going to line, I want to keep it fairly soft, like I did under the jewelry here. I don't want a lot of really harsh lines and harsh shadows. There. Texas, a popsicle. A popsicle, that's awesome. More shadow. You don't breathe the air, you drink it. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought pollen was a valid Florida season. That's funny. There's a lot of pollen here too, and in Texas, I remember the car just getting yellow with it. My car usually sat in the driveway in Texas because there was no room in the garage, and it would get yellow. All right, a little bit of lining with this purple. And this purple isn't terribly dark either, so that helps it do more of a subtle line. Less lining and more kind of tight spot shading. But wherever you're going to do some lining, you'll bring out more detail. Madness, Cornico. Yeah, yep. Well, if you come to Texas for ReaperCon ever, Cornico, you will get the 102 degrees probably, and experience the wonder that is the state trying to kill you, as David puts it. He's like, "Why is your state trying to kill me?" He is not acclimated to warmth, but he does far better in the cold than I do. There, a little bit of a line to darken down underneath these little fasteners. Now I'm just kind of like using this purple just for general shading, lining, touch up, tightening areas as I see they might need it. I'm using a big brush, but it's got a really fine point, so it's equal to this task. And because it's a big brush, I can keep painting with it for a very long time because it's holding enough fluid in it. You had 90s last week? Wow. Yeah, Texas spring floods and tornadoes, yep. And hail. Let's see here. There we go. Get some of these little bracelets lined around. Just a little bit of shading between them, just to pick them out a bit, make them look a little more solid. And the occasional green sky, yep. Florida in summer and you nearly melted. Yes, Texas is very similar. Maybe not quite as humid in the north. Depends on whether we've had recent rain. I like the heat, but I do not miss like 108 degrees. Although I would take the 108 degrees over like a really freezing winter. I really just have no tolerance for cold. There. That's getting there. A little bit of lining here on the outside because the bracelets are more solid than the hair. Yeah, but very little humidity. Yeah, my parents live half the year in AZ, so I like the dry heat. Like I used to go out the last summer that I lived in Texas before I moved out here. I would go out to do my walk in the evening at 8 p.m. and it was still 102 degrees. So yeah, I feel you. 115 is impressive though. I've never lived in a really arid state. I've visited Arizona a lot, but I have not lived in a experiencing all the seasons in an arid climate. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'll take that over -30. I'm the kind of person who sometimes if I've spent too long in the air conditioning, I'll just walk outside to warm up when it's really hot out. Because I like the warmth better than I like the chill. All right, so we're trying to get these petals figured out here, using a bit of this purple to just line and differentiate them so that the flowers are definitely separate from each other. You can also line between the petals. You could totally paint this genie like Hawaiian, and it would work with the flowers in her hair. Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine people out on the golf course in like 110 getting heat exhaustion. Speaking of heat exhaustion, I totally forgot to hydrate after my break. Hydration! Drink something. In my case, water. Ah. Ah. I'll have to re-yellow the middle of my flowers probably because I'm accidentally dinging them with my shading here. That's alright. She's getting there. She's getting tightener. Tightening up. Yeah, Midwestern summers are generally terrible. I grew up in Wisconsin before I went traipsing off to the East Coast, and then back to Wisconsin, then down to Texas for 17 years, now out in the Bay Area. So, Wisconsin summers, I spent a lot of years in Madison. It's just like a swamp. I think I actually preferred Texas summer to Wisconsin summer. Although I guess the Wisconsin summer advantage is that when the sun drops down, you actually do get cooler out in general. Yeah, totally do like a Hawaiian genie with like a Hawaiian shirt pattern, and then yeah, brown skin, black hair. That'd be awesome. Somebody now has to do that. I mean, she's got beads, she's got flowers. You could totally do that. Yeah, you could put a grass skirt on her pretty easily. Although you wouldn't even need that, really. I mean, she's got these little tassels and stuff. It's probably good enough if you didn't feel like converting. But you could totally do her Hawaiian. Anything over 77, Kerniko. Yeah, but see, you probably can tolerate cold a lot better than I can. I get wimpy when it gets below 50. Like, if it goes below 50, I'm like the ultimate wimp. David taunts me and makes fun of me. Hey, leopard pixie. Yeah, I like the weather here really a lot. I mean, it's been pretty, like the winter can get a little mopey, but at least there is a winter. Like, at least it's not like, you know, it does get down into like the 40s and stuff, and sometimes the 30s. Although we don't really get snow, but you can just drive up to the mountains if you want snow, so there you go. But But yeah, I really like the springtime weather has been really nice. Like we've had 50s and 60s. It's sunny and it's really nice to walk and run in. All right, let's actually throw some highlights together just to see how it looks. I don't want to go up too far. I think I'm actually not going to continue to add runic glow at this point. I just want to work from the pink I've got and add white to it. So let's add a little water because it's getting it just a bit tacky. And that will also give us enough to transfer over to this side here. And I can add just a little touch of white. Yeah, I like rain. Like, I do miss rain here. We get very intermittent rain. Although we do get some in the winter, and that makes me happy. I do like rain. But I don't like it constant. Yeah, you're right about that, Kroniko. At least when I had a house with a backyard that flooded, I did not like the constant rain. I think I'm going to go just a little bit up higher. Those two colors are dissimilar, but they're only probably about one level different on the color wheel tonal scale. So yeah, that's a little better. I like to have a definite difference between the two colors. You can always kind of do a wet blend and smush them together on your brush to get an intermediate tone if you need it. Yeah. Right, exactly, Krios. I agree with you. I think the dryer heat is much more enjoyable. And I like heat, so it's like... But the dryer is definitely nicer. So we're going to keep our pink around because if we get a little bit too washed out when we apply this highlight, we can glaze with it. And I'm just going to do a bunch of little dabs just in case I feel I want to suggest a bit of texture on this scarf. There we go. So just suggesting, just doing little dashes like that gives you a little bit of texture that you can then accentuate, or you can play down if you want to glaze over it. If you like it, you can keep kind of extend it more into the interior of the scarf. Kind of do it like that. Bring it up like that, and then I can actually do, let's go up another step. Grab a brush of our existing pink and add some more white to it. I always mix a new palette well or a new spot for every highlight. I can always do half and half mixes, but I like to have my previous color open so that if I want it, I can have it just quickly. I don't have to remix it. Do you like these colors, Leopard Pixie? I think our Genie is turning out pretty awesome, actually. It's an odd red, yellow, blue scheme, but it is a red, yellow, blue. There we go. Now we've got a much lighter cotton candy, almost pink. Now we'll still do the texture, but we'll do it a little bit more toward the edge and leave the previous color going into the interior. And then we'll get the edges back, at least this next edge here. Same thing. Just little touches. And little touches down here. And I need to think about the back of this. It's got a little bit of a suggestion of texture now, but I can go back to my previous pink and give it a little bit more. Likewise this one, likewise this one. All right. That's pretty good. I've got a little bit of a dash there I've got to fill in. And then I'm going to glaze it. There we go. I may go a little lighter toward the bottom if the cloth is flaring out a little bit, and I want to suggest that. It's going to catch more light. And then if I think that I've lost a lot of my red, and I don't want it to get too light because then everything is light, I'll grab some of my original pink and make a glaze with it. Boop. Here. And that's pretty thin. You can see that when I pull it across the surface of the palette, it almost doesn't exist. And then you just can paint that over your highlights, and it'll knock them down just a tad, but you should keep some of the texture. And then if you want to do a final highlight, you can. Do make sure that you pull off any extra glaze. You don't want it to pool. But in general, this looks pretty good. Yeah, so that knocked it back down a little bit, but I still have my texture, and I can take my pink then and just hit the edges. Just hitting a little bit of an edge highlight won't lighten the whole area. There we go. And that gets that edge to crisp up a bit, just putting that high highlight there. Hits the eye a little bit stronger so you can see the things, and it still looks like it's got texture. So yay. Oh boy. Let's see, what do we got? We got another 10 minutes. Not too bad. We can work on our little tassel here. So on the tassel, I want the obvious. I want the opposite. I don't want a cross texture. I actually want to maybe suggest that each of these tassels has a few strands to it. So I'll start with one stripe down the back of each tassel, and then on the sides I'll try to bring in the suggestion of other stripes. And that will make this look a lot less blobby and more like it has like several strands like braided into each of these big strands. I want to do at least a couple of lines in each of these. And I could totally bring this highlight a little bit through this center shadow as well. Even if I want to switch to my original pink to do that, I can. It's okay to interrupt that shadow a little bit if you want to with texture, as long as you keep a little bit of it. I'm going to go up with my really pale pink here. So again, trying to suggest at least two strands near the top with our really light highlight. And that's giving that a different look than this, which is nice. It's nice to vary up a little bit of texture. I don't want a lot on her because a lot of her is very, you know, kind of ethereal, but I do want a little bit of variance in my textures. Because she's big enough, definitely, to paint textures on, so. I think I want a little bit more of a highlight on this side of this particular strand. So this is where you're going to vary it up just a little bit here and there, depending on how much of the strand is in the light. But that looks pretty cool, actually, so. Let me get my seat adjusted here. Alrighty. But yeah, I think based on how this is looking, I think that this is the right pink for the job, which is good because we kind of committed to it a bit ago. I'm going to add just a couple of highlights to bring up this area up here that we kind of darkened down Just kind of bring that pink back. It's still like kind of on the underside of this big bell-like gold cap. But we want a little bit of a highlight to show up still. Just not a lot. All right, let's get these last two. Food now? All right, Shadow Raven, enjoy your lunch or dinner or whatever it is. I'm going to be off to get my walk in and then do my lunch soon. Then the afternoon has to be working on the Patreon. Speaking of which, if you want to support me on Patreon, which I would love because it is my love and my livelihood, since I am a freelance artist, it is patreon.com/paintingbig. I have a $5 tier for color theory stuff, and I have a $2 tier for more basic stuff, like kind of necessary techniques, and then or core techniques, and then my $10 tier I try to get a little bit more advanced, do some other stuff that's above and beyond. Optional techniques, I suppose. Conceptual techniques. Different styles of painting, stuff like that. But yes, thank you to everybody on the show who already has followed me and helped me on Patreon. I appreciate all of you hugely. I say it again and again, but I really mean it. Without you, I could not do this. Like, literally couldn't do it. Wouldn't even be able to do the Reaper show if I had to get a real job. So, you are very important to me. And to my success. I owe my success a lot to you guys. There we go. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Yeah, like that. That's good. I didn't really shade the back one there very much. Probably should bring some shadow in there. Looks a little bit despondent and not very, not a lot of variety on that pink on that side. Cheesesteak day. I cannot do cheesesteak. Or I guess I could do cheese and steak. I'm just low carb. I could do it if I like decided to do a special cheesesteak dinner, but I have lamb and chicken to use, so I guess cheesesteak is not in the cards for tonight. I still haven't decided which one I want to make. I'll probably look through the recipes for both of them and decide which one is more of a pain in the butt and see if I have the energy for it. And if not, it'll be the other one. The chicken is definitely easier to do than the lamb curry. Although both of them are Instant Pots, so they're easier than they could be. Oh, I forgot to line this little flower's petals. I wish shrimp was for dinner. I do love shrimp. But we've actually had fish 2 days in a row. 3 days in a row. Which is, we're trying to get more fish in our diet. And less red meat. So, before there was a lot of lamb and a lot of fajitas. Steak fajitas and a lot of ribeye and a lot of, a lot of pork. Because we love ramen and other pork. Like I have a kick butt pork chop recipe that I love. Asian, it's Indian Chinese pork chops. They're so good. And lamb shanks and all that stuff. But it's all red meat, so we've done an about face, and I've been experimenting with fish curries, which I never would have thought that fish and curry would work, but it really does. And it's actually a way to get a fish dish that has leftovers, which is the problem I have with, like just baked fish, right? It's not really good rewarmed, although salmon can be okay, but fish curry is definitely good the second day. There we go. I'll have to repaint over some of my gold, but that's all right. I think we've got everything lined at least. We've got some things highlighted. Lasagna. Most cheese is not Noom friendly, but you gotta, it's calories, Declerman. Like, I'm still eating high fat, and low carb. Which, by the way, I got my lab results back for my annual, and I have, like, super awesome cholesterol, and I have, like, my blood sugar is fantastic. So I have to say, low carb, it works. It's counterintuitive, but it works. But yeah, I don't so much care. I'm always in the red. Like, I always have a ton of red foods. But my calorie count is correct. So It just means that a lot of my other ingredients in my diet are like really low cal, like vegetables and lean meat. There we go. Little flour. Yeah, fish curry is lovely. I agree, Pan. It's so good. But yeah, cheese isn't... I don't do a lot of cheese. I do a little bit of feta cheese on my salad. Declarmin, that's all I tend to do. Otherwise I tend to avoid the cheese. Because it is high calorie in general. My diet's going okay. I dropped another pound. It's slow going, but then I am a female and I am older, so that makes it hard. It's definitely... You're on challenge mode at that point when you're trying to lose weight. Especially because it's the last part. Like, if I still had more weight, like a lot of weight to lose, I probably would be doing a lot more fast at this stage. But there we go. Flour! But yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Definitely a challenge. But I'm just going to be in it for the long haul. I actually really like how I'm eating now. And that really helps me. Like, then it really does become a lifestyle change. It's not a diet anymore. There we go. Ooh, katsu curry and coconut rice. Yum. I can tune into your stream. Are you going to be painting later, love? Or is your stream done today? Tomorrow morning? All right. I can try to pop into your stream. Maybe before my stream. All right, you're in the Bay. That's right. You're out here in San Francisco area. So what time do you start? $11:30 a.m. Okay. So really, like, if you start 11:30 tomorrow, then I can watch you after my stream. I can make a reminder of that. And then I can give you an opinion. The other way to do it would be to join my Patreon at a $2 level. But then I don't want you to have to join my Patreon to get feedback. So let me see here. Love and music tomorrow after stream. I can delay my walk for 15 minutes after stream. All right, you are officially on my to-do list, love. Ooh, chicken and veg curry. With coconut cream. I love coconut. So glad that coconut is something that I don't react to like some people do. Because I love coconut milk and coconut cream. Loving that. And actually, I'm pretty... Like, a lot of the Indian curries I've been making actually don't utilize the coconut milk. Like, it's regional, right? So a lot of the ones I've been making recently are actually very healthy by anybody's dietary measure, where it's just got a bit of oil, and you can always cut that amount if you want to cut the calories. So, but I do love me a good, rich coconut cream curry, too. Love, love, love. There we go. We got some thingies. Yeah, maybe it's a particular spice, Twisted Oma. If you can isolate which spice it is, different curries do use different spices. So you may be able to do it that way. Because sometimes it'll just be one of them. Like, it'll be the turmeric, or it'll be the coriander, it'll be, you know... And sometimes you can find curries that don't all use the same spice mix. Like, there are some curries that I've been making that aren't really technically like what we would consider curry because they've got no turmeric, right? So, yeah, right there, Ziwo just put it up. It is patreon.com/paintingbig. And $2 tier is like intro basic stuff, a lot of it. And there's a lot of it. Like, there's some stuff in there that is a little more advanced, like non-metallic metals. But I need to do some shaded metallics in there. Maybe I'll do that next month, actually. You make a note. Shaded metallics. Let's do shaded metallics. I've been doing more metallics lately. I have a lot of NMM up there already. But I always love getting ideas, and there are a lot of questions about shaded metallics lately, so I think that would be a good choice. So I did a glaze over the beads to bring them down a little bit, and that will let me highlight the ones that are up on the upper part of the arm more than the ones that are lower. So that's one thing. If you go and you pop like a basic highlight to bring out the beads, then you can put like a wash or a glaze of your original pinkish red over it, knocks that highlight down a bit, and then you have room to highlight more on the upper part of the bracelet where it would be getting more light. And to make those beads appear brighter than the ones below. But yes, thank you for the support, love. I'll totally sub your channel. I have a few. I think I've got a Prime sub on my personal account, so maybe I'll toss you my Prime sub, because I don't think anybody is using it right now. I just have to remember to renew it then. That's the hardest thing for mine. You don't even need a metallic gem color. If you paint them like gems but put a gloss coat over the top mattifile, that's probably the best way to make them look real next to the metallics. That's what I tend to do. Because gems don't have a sheen that's like metal. They're a bit different, right? Because they're translucent. Yes, that is me. Yes, I totally rated you. It was sneaky me in my other persona. But if I toss you my sub, it'll be probably be under my Vitala, because that's what my Amazon Prime is on my old email. So it'll be Vitala instead of Painting Big. But yes, I have many identities. But yeah, I totally, I only stream 2 days a week too, because I've got Patreon and commissions and all this other stuff to do, plus spending time with my, boyfriend and all the rest, family time. So yeah, I also only stream a couple days a week. Busy people keeping up a streaming schedule. Yeah, no problem. I like to, my viewers tend to like it when I raid people who are new to the hobby, so I am all for it. There we go. A little bit more highlights there. Better. Better. Alrighty. I guess it is, like, time to call it. Ooh, slow cooker curry. Had dried... Yeah, there's actually... Yes. Dried apricots. I have a recipe for that, but not slow cooker. Twisted Oma. Apricot chicken. I really am tempted. I almost picked up dried apricots on this store. I know, right? It is. Like, it really does take up a lot of time to stream. Like, and you're always pushing off other stuff to do it, right? So, oh, absolutely. I totally get it. Yeah, my house also tends to take the hit. Like, I keep the kitchen clean because I cook a lot. So the kitchen is always in order. But everything else, it's like, David, you're on your own. So I feel you. I don't have any kids. I just lost my dog, so there's less there to clean up after. But I do have a boyfriend, so there are 2 people in the house. Yes, so behind. Yep, I feel it. Alrighty, guys, we're going to call it there. Let's move out a bit so that we can get the full effect. There we are. And sweet. So yeah, she's getting more and more filled in now. Since we need to do more on the gold. We still have a little bit of pink to do. We'll need to work. Maybe I'll start working on the hair, actually. I want to kind of flip it back and forth so you guys aren't always watching like me do NMM and aren't watching all sorts of stuff. But yes. Yeah, for the doggy, yeah, I miss her a lot. But she has her own emoji in the chat, loving music, because everybody loved her. So we have a Kiri emoji for my Patreon, and I'll get it. She had pups she was a purebred, so actually I could get one of her great granddaughters someday. So that makes it all cool. But yes, thanks everybody. Reaper, are you there? I have to calling John or Justin. Disembodied brain Justin. Oh, we got it already. All right, we're rating Mocha. Go over and say hi to Mocha, everybody. And I'll be back tomorrow, and we're going to finish the base on Grumpy Cat and probably work more on the skin tones and the hair on the Chibi Monique vampire, all right? There's Val with my Chibi. Yeah, there's my Chibi Kiri. So cute. All right, have fun, everybody. I gotta run time to time to actually run. Walk and run. And I'll see you tomorrow. Adios.